Hello, my name is Laquinta Jenkins. I am a senior in college. I enjoy watching television and attending church. The author is Kathy Boudin. Kathy Boudin was born on May 19, 1943. She was raised in Greenwich Village, New York City. She was raised in a family with a long left wing history. The family has been described as ambitious, talented, and liberal New York Jewish. Boudin was an energetic, disciplined, and self doubting student at Bryn Mawr. She spent her summers doing volunteer work at everything from a summer camp for handicapped children to helping at a blood bank. She volunteered with Economic Research and Action Project and joined them in Cleveland, where she acted as a community organizer in an extremely poor section of town. In the 1960s and 1970s, Boudin became heavily involved with the Weather Underground. Her first act was planning and participating in the Days of Rage demonstrations, invading high schools, lecturing on sexism, racism, and imperialism. She was finally arrested in Lincoln Park while carrying a Viet Cong flag. In 1970, the Weathermen stepped up their actions with a turn more violent. In a Manhattan townhouse, Boudin and others were in essence building bombs. Unfortunately, disaster struck early. A bomb being prepared for a nearby armed base prematurely exploded, sending its contents of roofing nails and dynamite into three members of the Weathermen, killing them instantly and sending Boudin and another young woman, Kathy Wilkerson, into hiding. Boudin wouldn't be heard from again for 12 years. She fell in love with David Gilbert in the 1970s and gave birth to a son in 1980. Boudin decided to aid the group known as the Black Liberation Army, a violent group engaged in liberating African American communities. In 1981, Boudin and several former members of the Weather Underground and the Black Liberation Army robbed the Brinks armored car. Her role was to act as a decoy and getaway driver. The robbery severely wounded a guard, killed his partner, two police officers were killed, and two other officers were injured. She was charged and pled guilty to felony murder and robbery in exchange for a sentence of 20 years to life in prison. She was incarcerated at Bedford Hills Correctional Facility in New York. While incarcerated, she published articles in the Harvard Educational Review. She co-authored the Foster Care Handbook for Incarcerated Persons. She also co-edited Parenting from Inside Out, Voices of Mothers in Prison. She also wrote and published poetry while incarcerated, publishing in books and journals including the Penn Center Prize anthology Doing Time, Concrete Garden, and Aliens at the Border. Boudin was granted parole on August 20th, 2003, in her third parole hearing. After her release, she accepted a job in the HIV/AIDS clinic at St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital Center. She was named an adjunct professor at the at the Columbia University School of Social Work, where she is now the co-director and co-founder of the Center for Justice at Columbia University.